Hey y'all. It is Lily May, and I am working on um some stuff for work. And the interesting thing is that yesterday it was so interesting. So many parents were complaining about the schools being closed and why their kids, were out of school and that their kids were going to be dumb. But the reality is, your child is not going to be dumb just from missing, a couple of days of school. And I think we have to stop being so overly sensitive and over exaggerating everything, because at the end of the day, when your child comes to school, it is our duty and due diligence to educate the child, but it's also your duty and responsibility to make sure that that child is being educated at home. Now, as it relates to SOLs and things of that nature, I need you to understand something. I need you to understand, first and foremost, that SOLs are standards. If you go to the VDOE website, you will find those standards on that website. Not only will you find those standards, but you will also find other websites and supplemental sites for you to be able to work with your child. So, in my opinion, instead of complaining about schools being closed and your child going to be dumb because schools are closed, go to those websites and work with your child while your child is at home. I mean, the reality is that, and I can speak from personal experience, my parents knew nothing about the stuff that we were doing in school, because my mother had me when she was 46 years old and my daddy was 56. So by the time I came along in school, my parents were so far removed from the things that were going on in the school system. But guess what? They still sat down with me at the table and worked with me on what they could, and they still took my work and looked at it to learn how to do it. And so one of the biggest things I need you to stop doing is stop making excuses and putting everything on teachers. We are not required to do what you need to be doing at home. We are required to provide 21st century instruction, and we are required, for those of your children who have exceptionalities, we are required to provide accommodations and modifications for their curriculum. And that's based off of the diagnostic instruments that we use to figure out what's going on with them. But once again, stop. Stop putting it all on the teachers and the school system to educate your kids. You got to make sure that you're doing what you need to do at home. So yeah, I just wanted to put that out there, but also to let you know, like right now, I'm working on IEPs and reevaluations. And for those of you that have school age kids, let me explain to you what that is. So an IEP is an individual education plan. And basically what happens is that document is a process. The eligibility determination is the process that determines whether or not your child is eligible for an IEP. But what happens is those the testing and stuff that's done with that, which is you would get what's called the Woodcock-Johnson test of achievement, and that's looking at the academic side of of things, your reading, writing, and mathematics ability. You would get a psychological done, which includes a lot of different diagnostic assessments, like the Westler individual achievement test, and you might get the Woodcock-Johnson test of cognitive abilities, and then a social history. That's what the social worker does. But all of those tests are done so that we can see what's going on with your child. Now, the idea is that a lot of your kids may not be doing very well in school, but that could be in part because they may need that eligibility screening. And the thing is, that's why I'm telling you, stop blaming the school systems for so many things and start to assess your child at home. Start to assess your child at home, because in assessing your child at home, you will start to see a lot of their behaviors. And you might say, you know what, let me talk to their teacher, let me talk to their school counselor, and let me see what I can come up with, because such and such is something going on with my child. And that's something that's really, really near and dear to me, because I work with a lot of kids that I feel like if their parents understood the process a little bit more, it might be a little bit easier for them to seek help. So that's one of the things I want to make sure you understand. That I think it's very, very, very important that we are making certain that we observe our kids at home. And definitely don't ever feel like, there's an issue. Like, I don't want you to feel like shade is being thrown, but I do sincerely feel like, we have to stop blaming other people for our shortcomings. That's one thing. You can't continue to go through life blaming people for the things that are happening to you. You can't do that. Some things are beyond our control. And I get that. I understand that. And my hope is that people will learn to be a little bit more sensitive and be a little bit more cognitive and conscious as it relates to the things that you're doing. I don't know. It's a sad day when we're not taking responsibility for our children. And I say our children. You guys know I'm not a parent. You know I'm not a parent, but I am an educator. And what you have to understand is this. As an educator, I bring your kids home with me. Right now, I have about 6 documents that I'm getting ready to start working on. Why? Because your children are near and dear to me. Your children are important to me. And so it's up to me to work on these documents and make sure that your child's stuff is together. A lot of things that I'm looking at, I'm finding, I'm like, wow, you're missing a lot of stuff. A lot of the documents that I'm reviewing right now, I'm like, wow, there's so much stuff missing. There is so much stuff missing, and it's sad. It's very, very sad, because so many kids are struggling. So many kids are struggling in reading, writing, and arithmetic. And that's the other thing. We need to get back to the basics. So about these SOLs. Yes, SOLs are necessary, okay? SOLs are definitely necessary, but this is what I need you to understand. You can control whether or not SOLs continue to negatively impact your child's education, but you have to lobby your state and local representatives to fight on your behalf. Stop taking everything that supposed or alleged authority figures are throwing out there. You have the right to question. You have the right to question. Like I said, my parents were a lot older than most of my friends' parents. But guess what? My parents questioned everything. My parents questioned everything. Because they knew that when they came through school, see, my parents went to school when schools were segregated, which means separate but equal. But they, of course, we know they weren't really equal. So the idea is that, you have to make sure that you are doing everything that you can do for your child. And what that means is being able to reach out to people. I'm at your disposal. I am at your disposal. Yes, I teach high school, but I'm at your disposal. If you have questions, if your child is a student with special needs and you have questions about the IEP process, which is the individualized education plan, if you have questions about that process, by all means, inbox me. That information is confidential. If you need support with that, if you need help understanding something in that plan, once again, by all means, please inbox me. I will help you with whatever I can. But at the same time, you have to understand that you have to become educated yourself on the process and take initiative to go to your child's school and to ask questions, because at the end of the day, what happens is these kids need you. Your kids need you. Okay? Your kids need you, and we can't do anything if we don't know what your child needs. So what's really, really important is to make sure that you are definitely on top of these things. Like I said, right now I'm working on IVs. Yeah, it's a snow day, and what you think is that you think, oh, the teachers want snow days so they can just lay around and chill. No. Maybe my colleagues do. I don't lay around and chill on snow days. Right now, I have documents in front of me. I'm looking at numbers. I'm calculating. I'm reassessing numbers so that I can help this child get the services that she needs to be successful in school. And so those are the things that I want you to understand. Don't feel like we don't, do anything, because the reality is that we do a lot. We do a lot. And particularly for me, teaching high school and being an exceptional education teacher, it means that I wear 3 hats. I have to teach. I have to provide differentiation of instruction, which simply means making sure that instruction is individualized to fit the kids that need additional supports and learn differently, to make sure that the instruction fits what they need. I have to also come up with specially designed instruction, which far exceeds differentiation of instruction, which all teachers do. And I have to case manage these students, which simply means making sure that they're getting the things that they need. So, it's a lot. But so please, if you have any questions, just let me know. Just let me know, and I will do what I can to help you. Yeah, that's about it. It seems like nobody really has questions right now. So I am going to probably cut this live. And hey everybody, how y'all doing? And basically what I'm doing is, it disturbed me that so many parents were talking about, their kids being at home, which I get it, But I also want, parents to understand that we are also always working. We're always working to try to make sure that your kids are getting, what they need. And sometimes we need a break. Because the reality is that even over Christmas break, we still have work to do. So what you have to understand is, you feel like, okay, teachers are off all summer. No, we're not. Because we have to, during the summer, we might get called in, particularly exceptional education teachers, we might get called in to get some stuff done. So don't make the assumption that just because teachers work, 9 months and we get spring break and all of that stuff, that doesn't mean anything. That doesn't mean a thing. Because we still have work to do. You know what I mean? I'm working right now. You just have to do what you have to do. You have to do what you have to do. And at the end of the day, that's just what it is. So thank you guys for tuning in. I'm going to continue to work on what I'm working on, which is simply developing a couple of IEPs, and also preparing documents and reports for reevaluations. But if you have any questions about the special education process, whether it's child study, eligibility determinations, development of the IEP addendums, if you have a child with special needs and you need some support, please by all means reach out to me. I'll be glad to help you. All right, guys, have a great day.